I've been on the hunt for the best wireless earbuds for a few months. I've been using Android as my smartphone OS of choice, like, since the beginning. I've heard people really love AirPods, but I felt like AirPods were out of the question with me bleeding green and all. But they actually aren't. AirPods do work with Android, but with a few caveats. And Samsung found the gold mine that AirPods found first, and then they introduced their own version of them, the Galaxy Buds. I've used both, I've reviewed both, I like both, but which is the best for the everyday Android user like myself? That's the question that I'm trying to answer today, but there is a catch. By the end of this video, I have to pick just one of these and then get rid of the other. I mean, I don't need two overly expensive wireless earbuds. Arguably, I don't even need one, but anyway. First, let's talk about the overall design. AirPods are the original, and with the 2s, they really didn't change all that much. The case for the AirPods is glossy, whereas the Galaxy Buds went with a more matte material. Both have a great premium design though, but I like the AirPods just maybe a little bit better. It's just a little bit skinnier and more pocketable. Although this is maybe a little bit of a minor gripe and a little random, but the AirPods are almost like impossible to get out of the case when your hands are wet. I know, maybe that's just me. That has been my experience, at least. There's just not really any good spot for pulling each bud out of the case. So it's a little bit of an adjustment, at least that's been my experience. Each of the buds are designed well and really comfortable, but the AirPods are a slight bit more comfortable to my ears. They are just light and effortless on the ears. I mean, I can wear AirPods forever and they are just never not comfortable. But Galaxy Buds are comfortable too. They feel a little more secure in my ears and they go a little deeper, which is nice because that means they isolate sound better. The Galaxy Buds just let you close out the world around you and just engage with your music, movies, or podcasts if you're like me. And if you're worried about safety, like if you've run outside, Samsung does offer an ambient mode where it lets you allow some of the sound outside inside through the buds. It works okay. I would like to see some improvements there, but in any case, it does let you hear your surroundings a little better. Battery life on both is very similar. Galaxy Buds claim about 6 hours per bud, while AirPods claim about 5 hours. In my testing, it's tough to say which are better. I'll just say that they're really close in terms of battery life. And each of the cases hold enough to charge the buds a handful amount of times before you need to recharge the case. I'll just say it's a draw here. It's close enough to where I don't think that that's going to be the decision maker. Sound though, which of these sound better? I went back and forth several times and it's pretty close. But to my ears, I think I prefer the Galaxy Buds just slightly to the AirPods. This could be because their noise isolation just allows me to get fully immersed in their sound. Each sound pretty similar, but I will note that on the Samsung app with the Galaxy Buds, you can pick from a few different modes to change the sound to kind of change this sound signature a little bit. There's an extra bass setting as well as a treble, and that's really nice to have out of the box. But to be fair, if you're rocking Android, you can also download an app to EQ your AirPods, so I'm not sure that's that huge of an advantage. Now, I'm a fidgeter. I like messing around with things, and I've fidgeted with both of these a little bit. Both have a satisfying snap to the case, but the AirPods are a little bit better for messing around with because you can more easily mess with them one-handed. I can also spin both cases in my hands, but again, AirPods are just a little bit more fidget friendly. AirPods are just the perfect size for fidgeting, and how the case opens and closes is just perfect. You know that Apple must have obsessed over every little detail, and I know my wife is thankful. Everything so far has been pretty similar. 1 point here for AirPods, 1 point there for Samsung Galaxy Buds. But you should know if you're using Android, there are some drawbacks for AirPods. First, there is no way to activate Google Now or Bixby just with the AirPods. And Galaxy Buds have several common options for controlling your music. Raising the volume, answering calls, skipping tracks, activating the ambient mode I talked about earlier, activating Google Now. All of this can be done by tapping or holding the Galaxy Buds. And you can pause your music when you pull out both buds, but I wish you could do it just by pulling out one bud, but whatever. But with AirPods 2, it is a totally different story because all you can do is control your music or whatever by double tapping one of the buds. So this limits you to just 2 things you control, and worse, you have to connect the AirPods to an iOS or macOS device to change the default setting for this. Out of the box, the AirPods 2 default to skipping tracks, but I use my MacBook to change mine to skip tracks with one bud and then play and pause on the other. But this doesn't stop you from answering calls by double tapping, so when you get a phone call, all you have to do is double tap. Using AirPods on Android is just a stifling experience. But I will say, in terms of Bluetooth reliability with connection drop-offs and quirks, AirPods seem to be a little bit more reliable on the average. Not perfect still, but just maybe a slight edge in terms of reliability. And another thing that AirPods definitely have the edge on is phone calls. People just hear you so much better when it comes to AirPods. I will say though, there was one time that I talked to one person where for some reason when I was using the AirPods, they just couldn't hear me at all. But every other call experience, I was told that it was just super great. Galaxy Buds on the other hand, the mic quality is just okay. I have used them for phone calls at least a dozen times and I've had some success. But with Galaxy Buds, more than once, I had someone just flat out say, "I don't know what you're doing, but please stop." And price, well, if you go with the wireless charging AirPods, that'll set you back $200. Pretty steep, I must say, but if you can muster the energy to plug in that cable, the wired version is just $169. But the Galaxy Buds are just $129, which, is still a lot, but not as much as the AirPods, and these can wirelessly charge. No need to fork out some extra cash to get that nice, easier feature. In the end, where do I land? AirPods or Galaxy Buds? As you can see, they have a lot of differences, and your answer is going to change depending on what you value most. For me though, it's the Galaxy Buds. And that's not just because of the price and because that the AirPods have a lack of controls. I mean, for me, playing and pausing and answering phone calls, that's all I need. If I have that, I'm good. But for me, what made the massive difference was I like being fully immersed in whatever it is I'm listening to. I like being able to block out the outside world when I pop in my buds. AirPods, although they're insanely comfortable, I would happily give up that little bit of extra comfort if it meant I could enjoy my listening experience more. Also, when I'm exercising, it's just a little bit better, in my opinion, when you're closed off from the equipment or banging of the weights or the ellipticals. I just like that better. Also, something else that I was a little concerned about with using AirPods is when you're in a noisy environment, I mean, you have to pump them up really loud if you're in a loud environment. And I'm not a doctor, but I'm a little bit concerned that if you really pump the volume on these things, I mean, you're pumping a lot of volume straight into your eardrums, and I'm kind of concerned that it might slowly deafen me over time. Again, not a doctor, maybe that's nothing to be concerned about, but for me, I like the isolation. I mean, the AirPods just have to compete with the noise around you, and I just want to be able to pop my buds in and just drown the world out around me. In any case, I am saying goodbye to my AirPods. It was fun trying them, but I just feel like the Galaxy Buds are better for what I personally value. But anyway, what is your opinion? Let me know below. Did I make a mistake? And also, what is your favorite headphones, wireless or not? For me, Galaxy Buds, in terms of wireless earbuds, are the very tippy top, but maybe there's something out there that could dethrone them. Let me know below. Also, please leave a like or a dislike to let me know what you thought of the video, and subscribe if you want more content just like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I guess I will see you next time.